Hey everybody, this is Pam with Jesusjunkjournals, and I am back. Sorry, there's been a bit of a delay between these videos. I've got, like I said, I have a class going on with some people, and one of them, hi Carrie, one of them wanted to get a journal done for her friend before she left on a trip, and so we have just been really working hard to get that thing done, and it ended up being, it was like this wide. The spine was, it was like this thick, and so we got it done, and now I can come back to this. So I have a few more pages to do something with on the back, and I was debating, like, do I want to do the decoupage first, or do I want to do the inking first? And I think that normally I do decoupage first, but I think I'm going to try doing the inking first and see how that goes. And let me make sure I've got these, if there is a right side up. That's something that I forget that a lot of times. So I'm just going to look at these pages. Yeah, definitely there's a right side up on these. Oh yeah. So I'm going to use these stencils that have leaves on them, because it feels like, you know, this whole journal kind of feels to me like back in Israel, and you know what they have in Israel as far as planting and thing. And so I have these palms stencils. I haven't even used them before. This one I did, but I think I'm just going to do a bunch of that kind of botanical printing, and then I'll come back in and do a little bit of decoupage, maybe, or else I'm not sure. I'm going to see how this goes. So let me flip these over correctly now that I've got these going the right way. And I've got my green inks out, and I like to, of course, always try to do two colors. I really like the crushed olive. These are the Ranger Distress Inks, Tim Holtz, and I like the crushed olive and the pine needles together, or the lucky clover and the moss. Those four kind of, I don't know, I really like those. So I've also got a large one of Shabby Shutters. So I'm going to start bold with my crushed olive. That even sounds like it should be in Israel, doesn't it? Crushed olives. And so if you have these, you already know, but for the new people, when you get these inks, you want to store them upside down, and these little boxes have a holder to put your little foam pad in the back to store it. And I'm always resistant to buying, believe it or not. I shouldn't say that because I end up buying everything, but I try not to buy everything. And the storage box, at first it seemed kind of like, oh, I don't really need that. But in fact, it's very handy because they've put these plastic forms in here that hold them just right, and it works really well. And so when you do this box, always make yourself a palette so you know what it is and what color it looks like, because if you just look at the lid, you're never going to know what you've got exactly. So let's see, I think I'll get another dauber and use one for each color. That'll save me some time. I'll take this one off from my, so this is the vintage photo. This is kind of the, if you don't have any other ink, you want this one, vintage photo, of course, to do all your edges. So let me take that off and get my, well, what did I do with it? There it is. So I'm using pine needles and crushed olive. And whoops. And then come back with the other color and the spots that I didn't hit. And there's that. And I think I'm going to turn it and do couple more, just so it doesn't look quite so static with them all going up and down. The trick doing this is to keep your keep your daubers from getting confused. We'll see how well I do. I usually end up crisscrossing and getting the ink going both ways, but I try. Okay. And then I'm just going to do this whole page in a similar way with the same stencil. So we're getting ready for Easter at church. We're going to have a big Easter play. They do one every year, and each year they add a few more characters. So last year they introduced some Gentiles to the cast, and this year they're going to have some Pharisees to it. So I'm really can't wait to see that. And I imagine a lot of you all have those kind of things going on in your church, getting ready for the Easter season, which is always awesome. And what else is going on? Well, like I mentioned, we're working on these journals, and see, I just about crisscrossed it there. I think 3 people are doing the war room. Maybe, no, 4 people are doing the war room kit. And 1 person is doing the heaven kit. And 1 person is doing the, let's see, the Faith Field Notes journal. So we've got a nice mix. And it's been kind of fun to go back and see these kits being made by somebody besides me. I'm just going to go ahead and keep doing this and see how it looks. I don't want any white spaces necessarily, so I'm going to run this off the edge and maybe even come down here with a different one. Uh-oh, here we go. Try not to confuse them. And it's also helped me to watch people do my kits so that I can see, things that I think I've made clear aren't necessarily that clear. So that's been a good learning too. And maybe it will help me do a better job in the future when I try to explain things. All right, I'm going to go up here and run some things off. That's cute, that little fern shape. And then I'll pull one of these bigger ones down here. So I don't know how you guys do things at your church, but at our church, one of the really wonderful things we do, we have these connect groups. And they're broken into semesters, and anybody can lead a connect group. Pretty much a member of the church can lead a connect group about any Bible study or subject. There has to be, of course, an element of the Bible and, Jesus in it. But it can be things like just getting to know people or having a meal together. I have one in the summer where it's swimming and we, talk about God and talk about things and pray for people, and we go swimming. And then we have more studious ones, I guess you could say, that are like I'm getting ready to start one on a book by Dr. Caroline Leaf. It's called Switch on Your Brain is the name of the book. I had to stop and think for a second. But I think I've mentioned that before on here on different videos, but we're getting ready to do it on this one study. And it's about getting rid of toxic thoughts. It's like a 5-step program to get rid of toxic thoughts and replace them with healthy thoughts. And it's all biblical. She's a scientist that studies the brain, and she's a Christian. She's from South Africa, and she has come up with this program that she's used with a lot of kids in schools and things that have had all kinds of just terrible times. You know, a lot of kids over in Africa she got to work with in South Africa where their parents had AIDS and had died, and they were orphans, and they just had a terrible, terrible life. And she worked with them. A lot of them couldn't do their schoolwork, and she did this program with them, and they just turned into, you know, model students and just turned their lives around. And so I had used it. I've already read it a couple of times, and because I wanted to lose weight. And so I thought, well, I need to, you know, get rid of the toxic thought that I can't lose weight. Because I've said that. I can't even tell you how many times I've said those words, which it's not smart. And she goes through this thing. And so another thing that I used to say is I just love Coke. I'm addicted to Coke, and I don't want to stop drinking it. I love it. And I know it's really bad for me because sugar's really bad. Uh-oh. What have I done here? Let me put this back over here and finish what I started. So in her program, you spend like 10 minutes a day going over your thoughts and rebuilding it into a new thought. And I did it for a little bit, and I noticed that I had no desire to go get a Coke. And honestly, what I used to do is I'd leave the house, and the first thing I would do is go get a Coke somewhere. It's just kind of like a security blanket or something. I don't know. It just, it's hard to explain, but some of you may know what I mean. We get these addictions and these things that we enjoy, and coffee for some. I mean, I love coffee too, but let's see. Wait a minute. Have I got these switched? Nope, not quite. So anyway, we're getting ready to start that book. Looking forward to working on that some more, because it takes a while to get these old thoughts out. But meanwhile, I have lost 15 pounds, so that's awesome for me, because I had been trying pretty much everything and wasn't having any success. Okay, so let me change this up now a little bit. Add in this down here. And let's see, what else do I have? I'm going to try the big one. Oop. Well, I can add other stamps around that, so. Okay, got that one on there. I don't know how I did that. Okay, let's see. And then I've got this big fern leaf I haven't used yet. Okay, so there's that one. All right, I think I'm done with the leaves. I'm going to go find another stencil to use. Okay, I switched colors. I'm going to use some purple, which I never use. So, and let's see, I think I'm going to use this blueprint sketch. So kind of a navy blue, just to give it a little bit of different look. I love the two colors together. So let's see if I can keep these separate. And I'm going to go ahead and do another one with this, because I think I'm planning on decoupaging, so of course that's going to change it. They won't be the same. Okay. Okay, and let's see. Let me find one more stencil for this. Use one of Mr. Tim Holtz's stencils here. Just add some flowers, I guess. This is one of my favorite color combinations, this lavender and blue. I've probably said that before, but it's true. I don't know that it necessarily lines up, but I'm going to try. Let's see. So it looks at least continual, similar sort of. Let's see, I'll go ahead and do this over here. Okay. All right, so I have something on the backs of all the white sheets, or the printed sheets. So now I think I will go and trim them. Okay, so normally I do this off camera, and so I'm just going to put it here. This is a Dahle, I guess that's how you say it, D-A-H-L-E 508. It says German Engineering by Dahle. And so just kind of go over this. How I do it is because they don't always print straight. You can tell it's not completely straight. So you have to line it up by the edge of the print, right along that outer edge of that plastic guard, and then hold it really tight, and then that cuts off the edge. And then once you've got a straight edge, it should work. Although I can see it's not quite square, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my eyeballs, trim it that way, and get the paper. Yeah, see, it's just not quite straight. So, but these are easier than using a ruler and an X-Acto knife or a pair of scissors. I mean, it takes, once you get going, it's faster, I think. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim these out, and then I will come back on the next video and we'll go on with this thing. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.